Okay. A very good evening to one and all present here. Dear friends, today as we step into the second day of the FTP, organized by Milagres College Hampankatta, Padua College of Commerce and Management Nantur, and Government First Grade College Kavoor, on the contemporary issues in taxation, investment, banking, and analytics, it's a pleasure to have you all here again. It is said, develop a passion for learning, and if you do, you will never cease to grow. And today, this FGP has been organized to help us grow with a passion to learn. Hospitality is about creating a space to make others feel welcome and know that they are wanted. I now request Professor Ocean Santamire, Vice Principal, Padua College of Commerce and Management, to welcome one and all present here.
Thank you, Zina. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy and honored to welcome you all to this very informative session, Issues in Analytics and its Relevance. We are in second day of this 5 days faculty development program. We are indeed really enriched by the informative session by CA Anvish Shetty yesterday and now. First and foremost, I welcome today's resource person, CA Frenil Rithesh Dsouza. Afterwards, we will have the introduction about the resource person, a well-known chartered accountant and a well-known speaker. Sir, on behalf of everyone, a hearty welcome to you, sir. On behalf of Milagres College, Padua College of Commerce and Management, GFGC Kavoor, a hearty welcome to today's resource person, CA Frenil Rithesh Dsouza.
Thank you.
Hearty welcome to Reverend Father Michael Santamire, Principal of Milagres College, Reverend Father Arun Wilson Lobo, Principal of Padua College of Commerce and Management, Nantur, Mangalore, Dr. Shivaram, Principal of GFGC Kavoor. Hearty welcome, dear sirs. Special welcome to Professor Manoj Lewis, who is always encourages and guides us. Indeed, he is a source of inspiration to all the commerce fraternity. Hearty welcome to you, dear Manoj sir. Hearty welcome to all the participants who are eagerly waiting to listen to the resource person. Welcome, one and all.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words of welcome. Thank you, sir, for your warm words of welcome. I now request Professor Akshata to introduce the resource person for the day. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening to all our virtual participants. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the resource person for today's FDP, Mr. Frenil Dsouza. He is a practicing chartered accountant and a partner at Shetty and Dsouza Chartered Accountants, a leading firm in Mangalore. With extensive experience in various domains of finance and accounting, Mr. Frenil specializes in statutory audit, internal audit, forensic audit, and data analytics. Sir has completed various professional certifications, including a certificate in forensic accounting and fraud detection. He has also received a certification in business responsibility and sustainability reporting from IQAC. Apart from his professional accomplishment, Mr. Frenil is also a passionate trainer who has provided online training to over 8,000 students in professional courses such as CA, Association of Chartered Certified Accountant, Chartered Financial Analyst, and Certified Management Accountant. He is an active member of the Indian Society for Training and Development and Toastmasters International. Sir, we are honored with your presence and eagerly await for your knowledgeable session. Sir, I request you to begin the session.
Thank you, Akshita madam. Thank you for that warm introduction. And thank you, Manoj Lewis sir, and all the people who are responsible for keeping this FTP program, for giving me an opportunity here. I will be missing an opportunity if I do not acknowledge that we have the presence of Father Michael Santumayer, who was my principal and when I studied, and who is very dear to me, and from whom I have learned a lot. And it's been an honor now to present in front of you, sir, Father. Thank you. Okay, so to begin my presentation, I would like to share my screen. So just allow me a couple of seconds. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Visible, visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible.
Frenil, you can just move slides up, down, just to check whether.
1 second.
Yes, it's moving. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So to begin this session, okay, I have named this session for today as Beyond Numbers. Now, what do I mean when I say beyond numbers, and what exactly would I like to communicate by giving this title to today's session? Is that when Anvesh and Manoj sir and all of them, reached out to me to take up this session with regard to data analytics, I was thinking as to what exactly should I be covering in data analytics, because when we say data analytics, it's a very big, it's an ocean of a subject that currently from last, let us say, 8 to 10 years, which has been gaining a lot of importance, not only in job market, but even in academic market. So what is happening here and why this particular data analytics? When I say data analytics, I'm not only covering with regard to the analytics part of it, I'm covering also the data visualization and how why data is important, how certain analysis that we have learned before and how we can apply it in the future, how we can make sure that certain things can be taught in the classroom, and how certain techniques of data analytics can be, decisive point in, a lot of analysis that we do with regard to the business, and why it is very important for commerce students to know about data analytics. Those I will be covering. Okay, I really request participants to keep their mics on mute.
मैंने आपको देखा मुझे देखे वैसे लग रहे भैया तब तभी याद आया मुझे.
Kasan, can we mute all the participants?
Okay, perfect. So I guess everybody is muted, so I'm good to start. Let me go to this slide. Now I want your participation. I want your input in the chat box as to which color in this diagram holds the highest rank. I want you to put that up in the chat box. This question is open for everybody, and it would really help me in taking this session forward. So please, I'm waiting for your answers in the. Okay, Manoj sir says it's same. What about others? Okay, the red. Okay, it's the same or equal. Somebody says it's green. I don't see a green there, but yeah, white. Oh, white is the rest of the screen. Now that's a smart answer. Okay, yellow. All are equal. Okay. Okay, all are same. Okay, many answers you have been getting. Very nice. Okay, now I'd like to take you to the, I'd like to make this a little bit easier for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the next slide, and I'm going to show you. Now tell me which letter has the maximum frequency, whether it is A, B, C, D, or E. Okay, you say it's E. Now let me take you back to the previous diagram, that is pie diagram, and next I'm going to take you to the bar diagram which I just drew. Only difference between the pie diagram and this bar diagram is the way that it is presented. Okay, so talking about analytics, okay, what part of analytics that we are addressing here in these two slides is called as data visualization. That is, no matter how much data analysis that you have done, if the data is not presented properly, your analytics will fail. That is, a simple bar diagram can give us more clarity than a complex pie diagram. Okay, reason is very simple, that the previous one, that is the pie diagram what we are talking about here, right? So it has two things which are very important. One is the angle and second one is the area, and both for the bare eyes we cannot calculate what is the particular percentage of the area that it is holding because of its area and because of its angle. But when we talk about a simple diagram such as bar diagram over here, we can easily calculate what it is. Okay, for a human eye it will not be a problem. Okay, so when we say data analytics, it doesn't only involve about the analysis of a particular data, it involves more complex and more what to say, simplicity, okay, in terms of presentation. Okay, so here I'd like you to take you through a certain other diagrams as well, in order to give you an idea as to what data analytics would look like and why people think that it is very complicated with regard to presentation. The next slide that I'm showing you is a very what to say, like commonly kind of seen in any of the infographic chart that you might have come across. You open any of the company's annual accounts, or you open any of the annual reports for that matter, you will see some kind of data like this presented in the form of this bar diagram. Now, whether this diagram is properly depicting the data, yes, it is definitely properly depicting the data. But the problem here is we are not able to identify what this diagram actually willing to communicate with us. Okay, and to actually analyze what it is trying to communicate, we have to go through so many different areas of statistics and so many other subjects to understand what is going on here. Okay, so my first point or first takeaway for today is any data analytics without simplicity is a waste of time. Okay, so if somebody has in their mind that in this FDP program that data analytics is something complex, it is not. Okay, analysis is never complex. What is complex is the way that people present that data. Okay, I can give you more examples such as this, right? We really don't know what exactly is going on here. When you look at it in the 5 seconds, if you are not able to identify what the data wants to communicate with us, then the data analytics, even though it is properly done, it is a perfect failure. Okay, so I will give you more examples, and this complex example will take you through a phase that you will say that at the end of the day I don't even want to look at data analytics, right? So initially when I opened data analytics and when I downloaded certain PDFs and reports, now this is the kind of data that I was usually receiving. Now when you look at this kind of data, of course in your mind you will put that stigma that okay, data analytics is completely difficult, it is not for normal people, you need to do a lot of it's a very complicated subject in itself, which is not true. Going forward, these are the general slogans or general lines that you might have heard in the recent past, especially in the last 5-6 years. And because of COVID, this the craze about data has even gone further ahead and further forward. Now we say that data analytics is nothing but turning information into action. Okay, first of all, if you ask me what is data, data is junk, right? So whatever for example, you can open your phone today and you can see your browsing history. Your browsing history is nothing but data, right? So the process of converting data into information, right? So that is where the entire point was in the last 2 decades, for that matter, right? We were trying to get data as information. Now, what is data and information? What is the difference between the two? The information is nothing but the processed data. That is, if I open your cell phone right now, and if I go to your browsing history, and if I see what are the various browsings that you have done, right, I might be able to get a certain information about your browsing history, which might be important for making certain decisions. For example, imagine that you are watching a lot of YouTube videos, okay, or let us say you are watching a lot of Netflix. Okay, at that time I will be able to derive an information that you're wasting a lot of time on internet, right? So you're wasting a lot of time watching movies, okay? And if you avoid that, probably you'll save a lot of time. So that kind of information I'll be able to derive out of the data, right? And you might have heard data is a new oil. Data analytics is your secret weapon for success. Get the facts straight with the data analytics, unlock the value of your data analytics for better business decisions, make sense of your data, etc. So here what's happening is, in the present world, okay, I kid you not, the job market, especially in commerce sector, has been leaning towards data analytics a lot, okay? And this has been a personal experience, as well as the people who have trained under us, who have completed their ACCA or completed their CFA for that matter. They have come back and they have told us that why companies today prefer the candidates who know how to analyze data. Okay. And the first question that people usually ask me when I'm talking about this subject is that whether do I need to have a very sound computer knowledge in order to do data analytics? Now, I'd like to draw a proper distinguishment between the data analysis and the data analytics. Okay, so usually, we interchange these two words, that data analysis and data analytics. Okay, now what is data analytics? Now data analytics is the way in which you mine the data, you try to derive useful information from the data, and you try to make decisions out of it. Okay, whereas the data analysis is nothing but looking at a certain information and trying to make a decision. Now for that, you don't need a high level of computer knowledge. Okay, computer knowledge is required whenever, okay, you make sure that, okay, you have to be the one who is doing all the calculation, which is not the case in many of the MNCs or many of the companies. Because let me give you an example, the big four companies, right? There is EY, there is Deloitte, there is KPMG, there is PwC. Now all these four firms, for the purpose of data analytics, they have separate departments where a lot of engineers are employed in order to do your data analytics. Okay, whereas they will do the analytics and they will give you the data. You will know the underlying logic, of course. What is the logic of the data, you will know. Okay, and you will get that information. On the basis of information, you will make decisions about whether to go in depth. Okay, in case of audit, whether should I go in depth in revenue, or should I go in depth in cost, or should I go in depth in let us say the operating cost, or should I go in depth in, let us say, the inventories, or what? Okay, so basically what happens here is the way in which you derive information to make certain decisions is data analysis, which is most important, okay, for any academic personnel. Whereas data analytics, that is the actual working, okay, with data in order to derive information, is not necessary for all commerce professionals. So let me give an example. Now, when I was studying, okay, so the knowledge of computers was very limited. For example, when I was doing my chartered accountancy as well, the knowledge that was required in order to any kind of data analytics for that matter was limited to Excel. That is, we used to put the information in rows and columns, and after putting information in rows and columns, we used to do use some simple Excel formulas in order to derive certain information out of it. But today the world has moved forward. Okay, for example, I can just tell you the magnitude of the information which is available. You might know this supermarket called as More. Everybody knows supermarket called as More, I believe. Okay, in More there was an anomaly which was detected by one of the data analytics personnel who was working there, whereas he found that certain paisas, okay, let us say even 8 to 9 paisas. For example, if your bill was, let us say, 32.11, it used to round it off to 32.12. Okay, and with that, 9 paisa difference, okay, the system used to close the data. And all these 9 paisas, 8 paisas, 7 paisas, okay, used to gather at a particular suspense account. And this data analytics personnel found that over the course of 7 years, around 37 crore rupees was accumulated in that account. and it remained unnoticed until somebody came up with the concept of data analytics and they tried to read and study the data. At the same time, I would like to tell you another example. You might know this food giant called as Burger King, right? Burger King also faced a similar type of a data driven conclusion or enlightenment that they got with regard to the prices of the burgers, when to price the burgers high and when to price or when to give discounts on burgers. Okay, they studied their own store analysis all year for past 5-6 years, and they came up with the decision as to which season is best for which countries, which city, right? So they have you might have seen that certain times you might have gone to some abroad place like Dubai, you might find that there is certain pricing which is lesser. Sometimes you come to India, the pricing is lesser. It is not done at random or to just to increase the sales. Behind that, there are people who are sitting and analyzing data for day in and day out. Okay, so even for financial decisions, this becomes very, very important. And with all our knowledge in accounts, statistics, and mathematics, and all the other subjects, we should be able to derive this at a much better pace and faster pace. Okay, so these jargons really are not untrue. Now, I'd like to take your attention. Okay, you remember that during olden times, right? So it used to happen that people used to die of hunger. Okay, generally talking about, people used to die of hunger. Okay, and today people are dying of obesity. Okay, so what's the difference? The difference is the availability of calories. Okay, so earlier the availability of calories were less, the food was less. Now the access to food has increased and the access to the calories has increased, and because of that people are dying of obesity. Same thing is with the data. Okay, they say that the data that we collected today is collectively more than the data that has been collected for last 100 years. Okay, that is the level in which data has been being collected in every domain for that matter. And we have gone ahead to the semantic web. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine that everybody, you have your cell phones. Now open your cell phones and probably search for Nike shoes. Right, you just search for Nike shoes, and after you search for Nike shoes, go for a couple of browsing pages and click on a couple of shoes. Okay, check their prices, then close your browser and forget about it. And then try opening your Facebook, try opening your Instagram, try opening any of the other social media apps, try opening any of the websites. Okay, in the ad section, you will see those same Nike shoes. Okay, now what happened? Within a minute, the data, okay, about you, that is about your preferences, has been shared across the internet, and the people who want to target you have already set their eyes on you, and their ads are already appearing in every places that you see. Now this is the power, or this is the current level of data analytics which is being pushed to us. Okay, and in this particular environment, if we stay in autarky and we say that I don't want to analyze data, or let us say I don't want to get comfortable with data analytics, then the future path is pretty difficult for us to move forward. Okay, so all I like to say is that when people tell me that, okay, so I have to do data analytics, which means that I need to know a lot about computers, or I need to know a lot about coding, or I need to know something about programming language, it is false. Okay, the one and only subject which you need to know, which I call is the key to data analytics, is statistics. Okay, it is from the execution point of view. Now, what do I mean by it is from the execution point of view? See, any predictive model or anything that has got to do with any kind of estimation in the future, okay, is always linked to the subject statistics. You have your statistics basic very well. You need not worry about how to interpret the data. Only problem comes is that what data are you trying to interpret? Okay, there could be finance related data, there could be science related data, there could be medical related data, there could be art related data, there could be a lot of different types of data. Okay, but the processes and the techniques which are used are very much evident in the subject statistics. So anybody wants to be good at data analytics should start from statistics. Okay, that is the subject which is the core, which is the heart of data analytics as a topic. Okay, so here, talking about all of this brings me to that phase that I was in at once, where I wanted to learn data analytics, and I suddenly started with the programming language. So I also teach Python as a programming language, and also Django, in order to do data analytics for finance professionals. Initially, I started with it. And after 3-4 months of learning this programming language, I can say that I utterly failed. And the reason for that is I did not have a very sound backbone, okay, of statistics as a subject. And if I had that, I would have been able to easily learn. Okay. Then later I came to know that we as commerce professionals, okay, need not actually know the programming language in order to analyze data. So what do we have to know? We have to know the techniques in which we are going to we are going to analyze and present the data in the form which is requested by the management. Okay, and for that you can take help of people who already know the logic of computer language or a programming language for that matter. Okay, but if you know both, then there is nothing like it, because companies nowadays prefer, okay, professionals who know both of that. Okay, and we have seen the trend grow not only in international firms, even in national firms, even in companies which are like top 100 in India. Okay, they are preferring so many candidates who know data analytics, who can interpret data. Okay, and going towards that, what are the various statistical analysis tools which we already know, and how it is actually applied in our day-to-day life in data analytics? Okay, first one is something called as Z-score analysis. Now everybody knows the Z-score analysis for that matter, because we have learned in either one of the classes, okay, that we have attended. We have learned what is mean, what is standard deviation. Okay, but let me tell you, 50% of the analytics, okay, 50% of the analytics is as easy as you can interpret data from these two things, that is mean and standard deviation. And I remember that when I studied this mean and standard deviation first time, okay, in my 11th, 12th, at that time, I did not understand what exactly the mean and standard deviation means. Okay, because we have been taught how to solve a particular problem by using formulas. Okay, but how to interpret that becomes very important. Okay, and from that topics we go into certain complex topics, such as what is cluster mean, what is cluster standard deviation. Okay, and we go into further detailed analysis. Okay, then we say that UV mean and UV standard deviation. Okay, we go further depth into that. So basically standard deviation is nothing but the deviation of any given data point from the mean. Okay, and if it is double, what is the meaning of it? If it is triple, what is the meaning of it? And what do you mean by anomaly, right? So if you take all of this statistical analysis and tools and try to interpret it first and then go through the calculations, it becomes much more important, let us say it becomes much more better for a person who wants to make a career out of data analytics. Okay, so here analytics is more of an interpretation than what is generally being told. Okay, so it's more of interpretation than calculation. That is what is the important thing over here, because today you can see that there are 100 tools which are available for data analytics. Okay, all you need to know is the underlying logic, and you know how to interpret that particular result. Okay, those are the two things which are very important. And to do the calculation, there are hundreds of tools, if not thousands. Okay, and there are softwares such as there is ECAT. Okay, as a it's a software which is used for data analytics by using statistical analysis. And there is IDEA. okay, which is a very famous software among finance professionals for using it in any of the financial data for that matter. So z-score analysis, as I told you, it's simple with regard to the mean and standard deviation, which we have learned previously, which all of you definitely know. Okay, and you have to focus when you say you're teaching for data analytics, you have to focus more upon the interpretation of these numbers than going into the calculation of the numbers. Of course, the calculation of numbers is also important, but here interpretation is given a little bit of more importance, okay, when it comes to data analytics. And then we have something called as Benford's law. Now, I don't know how many of you might actually know what Benford analysis or Benford law is and how that is used for any of the financial analysis purpose. So let me tell you that. So Benford analysis says that whenever you give a person to select a random number, or let us say whenever a person is doing large number of transactions involving number, there is a pattern that follows, okay, in the in the percentages that Benford has told. For example, imagine that there is a bank and every day people withdraw money, people deposit money, okay, and the first digit, okay, of that withdrawal amount or of the deposit amount, okay, 30% of the time will be 1. Okay, now you might say, what is this analysis, how this is even possible? Okay, even myself, I was very shocked, okay, when I first saw this. Then I went into the underlying reason behind it. For example, if I tell you about if I ask you a question to choose a random number between 1 to 10, okay, and if I ask you to rank something, let us say if I ask you to rank a particular bottle, okay, this particular bottle, I say that rank this bottle, its beauty, okay, from the scale of 1 to 10. Okay, usually people, in order to be, even if you don't like it, in order to be polite, people come to this number 7. Okay, and it has been proved, okay, not only once but several times, that people have this bias towards number 7, okay, when you ask them to choose between one, because that is that number which makes it less meaner. Okay, so you can't rate it lesser. Okay, at the same time, you're not exaggerating it, you're not saying 8, 9, 10, right? So that number is a sweet spot which people hit. Okay, and that analysis has been proven over time. Okay, so here what is happening in Benford's law is, whenever you're not keeping your conscious mind to disprove this own theory, okay, when you transact in numbers, the maximum number starts with the number 1. Okay, it starts with 1, and 17.6% of the times it starts with 2, 12.5 times it starts with the 3, and so on and so forth. So basically what happens here is, the starting digit of the number keeps reducing from the first number to the last number. That is the least number used, it will be used most number of times, okay, to start a particular number series. Okay, that is Benford's law, and this we use in data analytics a lot, and this forms part of some of the syllabus as well. Okay, and why I brought this here is, I wanted to tell you that the analysis has been done from long. Okay, for data analytics purpose with regard to numbers, the analysis has been done from long, and people are very much aware, and they have been studying this number for long, and they have taken this data out. So I want to share instance of using Benford analysis in my day-to-day activities. As I have been introduced, I am a certificate holder in forensic accounting and fraud detection, and I was assigned with the forensic audit of a bank. Okay, whereas I had to literally go and quantify a finance fraud done by a bank superior manager. Okay, where he was taking money out of the bank. Okay, and somehow the bank's management got a hint of it, and they want to catching the fraud is not at all a problem, by the way, in any of the finance fraud situations. Accusing somebody or catching someone that he has done fraud is not a problem. The problem is quantifying the fraud, because you do not know, especially in the banking sector. Okay, what happens is, imagine that you created a deposit of 50,000 rupees. Okay, fake deposit of 50,000 rupees. Of course, interest will be calculated on that, which means if at all you catch that 50,000 rupees as fraud, you have to also catch the 5,000 interest which has been on 10%. I'm just assuming you have to catch that 5,000 interest as well. Plus, if at all that interest has been paid, okay, to an account by deducting TDS, you have to find the TDS also. Okay, so here it's a big mess. Okay, so what happens is, sometimes fraudsters, what they do is they create this 50,000 fake deposit, 5,000 interest will be there, a 10% TDS will be cut, and the remaining money of the interest they will reinvest. Okay, that reinvestment will again give them interest on that TDS, again that money will be reinvested, so money will circle and go forward. Okay, at that time it becomes extremely difficult. Probably you can find the initial 50,000 amount, but you can't find what is the interest, you can't find what is the TDS, you can't go anywhere with it. Okay, at that time I used this simple Benford law, and I found that instead of 1 being at the 30%, that is number starting from 1 being at 30%, number starting from 4 were 30%, which means there is some kind of anomaly. I could be true, I may not be true. Okay, it could be true, it may not be true, but numbers starting from 4 were increased. And what I did is I removed all the transactions where the numbers will start at 4. Okay, and that I was able to catch a very important anomaly, that whenever this bank manager used to do any kind of fraud, he used to do it at 49,000 rupees. Okay, because that's where the number was starting at 4. Okay, so what happened here is I got a very good insight, okay, with this Benford law or Benford analysis, okay, which is a statistical tool again. Okay, and having the knowledge of this becomes very important for us to do any kind of further analysis. Now going forward, there is something called as the law of large numbers. Okay, now what is the law of large numbers? It states that as the number of trials of a random process increases, the results average would get closer to the expected value of theoretical values. Okay, this is one of the assumption or one of the theories that we use in our data analytics. Why I'm bringing this again, let me tell you, to tell you how easy it is to analyze. Okay, so let me tell you, all the wordings might sound a little difficult, but I want to explain to you what law of large numbers is. It's very interesting. Okay, now imagine this. Okay, you might have heard about this term called as gambler's fallacy. Okay, that is the people who are taking, or let us say they are addicted to things such as lottery tickets, or they're addicted to any kind of casinos or something like that. Okay, so every time they roll dice, or let us say they pick a card, okay, they expect to win. Okay, that is called as a gambler's fallacy. But the problem there is because they play only so less number of times, it is not actually possible for them to actually get to the expected result. Okay, with law of large numbers, what happens is, okay, imagine that you're tossing a coin. Okay, you're tossing a coin 10 times. Okay, every time you toss a coin, the probability is 50% it is heads or 50% it is tails. Okay, but can I say that if I toss the coin 10 times, 5 times it will give me heads and 5 times it will give me tails? I cannot tell that. Okay, because I'm tossing the coin only 10 times. What if I toss the coin 10,000 times? Okay, as let us say, what if I toss the coin 1 lakh times? Okay, as and when I increase the number of my trials or increase the number of my tries, what happens is the possibility of me getting closer to the probability actually decided increases. Okay, there is no chance that if I toss the coin 10 times, 5 times I'll get heads and 5 times I'll get tails. But if I toss the coin 1 lakh times, there is a high chance that heads will be closer to 50,000 and tails also will be closer to 50,000. Okay, a little bit ups and downs will be there, but as we increase the number of trials, okay, the results average would get closer to the expected value or theoretical values. So just like that, we detest from that number. We say that, okay, if at all this law has to be applied, there has to be large number of trials. So on the basis of the instances that we already got for data analytics, we try more. Okay, we create more iterations. Okay, we try to create more transactions in order to see whether this pattern stays. Okay, that is a very important analysis that we use again in data analytics, but which is very simple. Okay, but looks very complicated. Okay, next, let me go to another law which we use for data analytics in our day-to-day any kind of forensic audits or whatever. Okay, it's called a Zipf's law. Okay, what is Zipf's law? It's a rule that it applies to many things in life, that says that there is a small number of things that are very common and a large number of things that are very rare. Okay, now I wanted to think of an example for this. Okay, I'll give you an example for Zipf's law. Okay, you all are in college. Okay, and you might have seen that the in your library, for that matter. Okay, in your library, there are small number of books. Okay, or very few books which get borrowed a lot, whereas large amount of books will not remain borrowed at all. Okay, they'll be borrowed at a very less frequency compared to the those few books. At the same time, you might have seen the websites. Okay, in the in internet, there are only few number of websites which are accessed a lot, whereas there is a large number of websites which are not accessed at all. Okay, so this is not very limited to websites or books. It is also this pattern is also seen in words. Okay, so this theory was given by George Ziff. Okay, he noticed that there is a pattern when he studied how often words are used in books. He found that most common word in English is the word the. Okay, and it appears about twice as often as the next common word of English, that is off. Okay, so the word the actually it repeats twice as often as the word which is used, which is off. And the third most common used is and. Okay, and it appears 3 times less than the word the. Okay, so what happens in English? In words we say that there are the, there is off, and there is and. Okay, whereas the is used twice as much as off, and off is the word and is used thrice less than the. Okay, so these kind of statistical analysis tools have derived these results, okay, over years of iterations. Okay, all we have to know is how to interpret that and how to use this wherever it is applicable. I'm not saying that any of these laws or any of these statistical tools that we have seen before in the slides will be used as a blanket rule for all the cases that we have seen. Definitely not. Okay, it is always subjective, case to case basis. But all I want you to know that to analyze this and to get to this conclusion, you don't really need any of the complex programming skills or computer skills or anything like that. It is as easy as interpreting the data. And trust me, data analytics is one of the very hot topic in commerce. At the same time, it is very, very interesting topic, because if you look at our commerce subjects such as tax, okay, it's a very gray topic. Law, it's a very gray topic. When I say gray topic, what do I mean? It is not black, not white. You could be right, you could be wrong. Okay, but in data analytics, there is no you could be. There is either right or there is wrong. Okay, it's black or white. Okay, there is no in between. Okay, and most of the subjects in commerce are very much known for being in the gray. Okay, especially any of the topics which are related to law. Okay, and this subject is not so, and that makes it very much more interesting. Okay, so why data analytics need to be taught at college level? One, because it opens up a lot more opportunities for students to go into the job market and to actually make it there. Okay, and right now companies are preferring. Okay, we are seeing that people who are hiring from our trainees. Okay, they are asking, does the person know how to analyze data? Okay, that is the question first it will be asked, and many of the finance professionals who recently cleared the exams, they have directly asked us that question as to whether data analytics has been taught. Okay, and that question is being asked very regularly nowadays. That is why data analytics need to be taught at college level. And second thing is data analytics difficult to be taught? No, that I have already proved it to you that data analytics is definitely not difficult to be taught. It is just the analysis and interpretation of data which is in front of you. Okay, probably getting at information you might need some technical help, but usually that particular thing is not the concern of the commerce students. Commerce students need to know how to interpret the data. That is the level of data analysis that we are talking about here. So I open this for questions now, like on the basis of the things that I have spoken and the things that I have examples that I have given. Any of the questions, if you have, I will address that now.
Can we stop the share screen, Frenil?
Yes.
No, I have few questions, but then I want others who are here to ask.
Yes, please. I'm waiting.
Yeah, Madam Claret, I think you should have more questions.
Yeah, I have, but then I think Sir has cleared most of them because the way he explained with all the examples, it's related to our daily life. Thank you so much, Frenil sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I think I will go with my questions. Possibly this question may be questions of other participants also. Now, one thing you very rightfully said that we don't need to have that programming language. Basic knowledge of statistics, a good knowledge of maybe Excel and little bit of analytical part, I think should be good enough to take up for a teacher to take up this subject. What do you feel, friend?
Yes, so as I said, Manoj sir, the thing is, the programming language cannot be expected out of anybody for that matter.
Correct.
Okay, it's a very difficult thing to do, and plus, every day we have new programming language coming up in data analytics. For that matter, we have for a long time we had Python. Okay, but now there are certain languages which are even more complex than Python, and more data visualizing types such as R, Django, and they are coming up. So that is mostly the domain of the people who are completely into programming. Okay, they can do it much better and faster. Of course, if at all both of them, it's great. But what I'm saying is, as commerce educators or students, it is very essential to have the knowledge of Excel. That comes first. And secondly, the knowledge of statistics. With these two things, you can do anything with analytics.
Okay. And good knowledge of use of computers, obviously, is a must too.
Yes, it is a must. As all these things come hand in hand with the computers only, we need to have the good knowledge of computers. Yes.
Okay. Now, because what I want to tell most of the audience, there are teachers more so from Mangalore University. We have already, Mangalore University Board of Studies Commerce has already initiated a BCom Data Analytics. Bachelor's in Data Analytics is one of the course that BCom, the Commerce Department, has initiated. So BCom Data Analytics is one college is starting next academic year, but then this information as shared by university, many colleges will come up. But the only concern that commerce teachers have is, if they start this particular program in their college, will they lose their job? That is the question. I believe we have answered this question rightfully.
Yeah.
A good knowledge of statistics, good knowledge of Excel, definitely you are in the market for a long time. What
Yes,
do you think?
so we have seen this program being developed, especially the data analytics program has already been developed by all the IITs, all the IIMs, and all the major institutions in India. They have already come up with the data analytics certificate courses, data analytics graduation, post graduation, etc. And if you see international universities, they have already launched, and their 5 batches are out with
Okay.
regard to this analytics. And many of commerce finance professionals right now, if you see EY, okay, for that matter, I'll take 1 minute to explain
Yeah.
that. In EY, PwC, and all the big fours for that matter, there is a separate department now which is into data analytics, and which is mostly into that segment, and they are making it compulsory to go and attend this online courses which are given by international universities. Okay, it's a very welcome move that Mangalore University has taken that initiative, and they have come up with this. And I should be glad that it is actually going to add a lot to the career than doing anything opposite of it.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Frenil.
Thank you, sir.
I think it was a blessing in disguise because we were thinking of IPR during this FDP. Then suddenly, we thought analytics would be much better when we have someone very resourceful as CA Frenil who can take up that session. So we changed our thought process from IPR to analytics.
Always happy to help, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Any more questions? If anyone has any questions, you can ask now.
I believe everyone is spellbound with what you have said.
Sir, thank you so much for inviting me here, and I thank all of you for your patient listening. And any one of you want to reach out for any of the matters with regard to data analytics, I'm always open. You can always ask me things.
No, we are planning for a 3 days or 2 days program exclusively on analytics only, keeping future in mind, so that every teacher, obviously we have limited here, few are there on YouTube also. So I thought once we have a gathering of commerce teachers coming in large numbers and they are very clear, so they go back to college confidently and they believe they can do it. That environment is what we need to create. That's what I feel, and I think we'll do it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, if I think any questions?
Yeah, if there are no questions, then I think we can proceed with the vote of thanks. Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you so much. I now request Ms. Jesslyn, Department of Computer Applications, Padua College, to propose the vote of thanks.
Gratitude contains not just in words, but in the hearts which expresses it. A very good evening to everyone. It gives me great happiness to thank all of you. I wish to place on record my deepest gratefulness to our today's resource person, CA Frenil Rithesh Dsouza, for spending his precious time with us and sparkling our mind with your knowledge. Thank you, sir. My sincere thanks goes to Padua College Principal, Reverend Father Arun Wilson Lobo, Principal of Milagres College, Father Michael Santumair, and the Principal of Government First Grade College, Dr. Shivaram Appi, for giving us an opportunity to conduct this faculty development program. Thank you. I raise my heart in gratitude to thank Professor Manoj Lois, Mr. Cassin Rodriguez, and their team for continuous and selfless involvement to organize this faculty development program. Thank you, sir. Lastly, I thank you all, my dear participants from various colleges, for your involvement in this FTP. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, everyone, for being in this FDP for the second day. The feedback link is provided in the chat box. You can fill it, and those who have filled can leave the meeting. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
So thank you, Madam Zina. I think it was a lovely session and a wonderful host. Thank you, Frenil, Sir, Cassin, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Girish sir, tell me, sir.